So here we are at the tomb of Maya, which was right next door to Horemheb, and I wasn't taking in a lot of information at the time because this is after I'd had my little sort of sit and rest and drink vast quantities of water period. It's in better condition. We have columns here.
And this would be the burial shop.
Actually, and if you look, some are finished and some aren't. This has all been done with the DJI Action 2. It was sort of my theory was I would just attach that, and this would be how I experienced or perceived things, because it's about sort of vaguely eye level-ish. Well, I mean, if you're short. So a lot of this was that, and I think I missed out on filming with the Pocket 2 because I couldn't see if it was on or not, and I couldn't make a connection between it and my telephone because Egypt blocks Wi-Fi that it doesn't recognize. And it needed a Wi-Fi link to send the signal from the camera to the phone.
And to memorialize great events. They were late in this acquisition, wasn't it actually after Battle of the or is it late earlier? We know Tutankhamun.
Yeah.
That was quite common amongst earlier is recreated in stone before do a natural material. Yes. And that's why maybe they were buried underground so that they could connect with it.
And also they could
That's a theory with the great pyramids, with the two shafts, they were symbolic levels of ground. Because if you move the sarcophagus to where the two shafts are, where one theorist thinks it originally was, it's literally just under the level of the which would have been a spiritual water, the water in, the water out.
You also have to remember that this is sort of day one. It was 35 degrees. We're in the early afternoon. Really hard to take a lot of stuff in.
Yes, and it was always the left foot.
I will say he did a grand job of trying to explain things. Whether I don't think he did it was nothing to do with what he was saying. It was everything to do with my ability to retain information, because just physically so challenging. You have to keep that in mind. It can be quite physically challenging. I don't understand people who take small children, and there are a few you see. Just don't understand that. I mean, talk about making more work for yourself.
It's denoting life, activity, the present, you might say. representation where they had the same image but reversed on the other side. That's part of the map thing, isn't it? Balance?
I'll try and keep sort of voiceover to the walking bit because we're not talking. I've been trying to figure out how to do this audio thing so you can listen to some of what he's saying, although, to be honest, that means you have to listen to what I'm saying, and that's usually not worth it. I sort of realized how little I did know when I thought I knew a half-decent amount. Really is quite extraordinary and impressive when you're physically there. Much less dealing with the weather. Oh yes, my little backsheesh moment. I hate doing tips things. I just never know what to do. I mean, what's a good tip? What's not a good tip? And it's I hate all that guesswork. I like it all taken care of, and then just sort of pay the bill at the end. Now we at one point I go into 3 times the normal speed. I leave in these bits because I want you to sort of feel or experience the whole concept of this distance that we have to cover to get from A to B to C to D sort of thing. And we're now heading back towards the parking lot to move on to the Mastaba, which is the next little bit here. I stop here and I look up and I go, oh God. I think when I said at the top, I said, I've never felt my age more than right at that moment. And then we go into sort of the Keystone Cops type walking. I don't know, I feel I should have like the Benny Hill theme song behind. But of course I'm sure that's some sort of copyright thing. And here we go. If you look at the shadows, they're not very long, so it's still quite early in the day, maybe 1:30. And that's the step pyramid that's on the tour. We'll be seeing that later on. I will say Nordic poles are a great invention, and they certainly are useful in situations like this. And I think if you're over the age of 60, possibly even younger, but at minimally starting at 60, you should take a pair with you, because the extra benefit of having that sort of you're using your whole body instead of just your legs to walk. And there's the extra stability. Oh yes, we come around a corner at one point, and you can just see the crowds, and this wasn't a busy day. See? Small children don't understand. See? Crowd. And of course it was like that at all the monuments. These crowds, coaches, we were a group with a coach, would turn up, and then they'd all spill out. I will say one thing I sort of kept an eye on was what people were wearing, and there were occasions that completely puzzled me. And now we're at the Mastaba of Mereruka, which is supposed to be one of the largest, or is the largest at Saqqara. I'll get quiet, so maybe you could turn up the sound and listen to what he's saying. Just ignore what I say.
It's very similar to the boat song, the side that goes to the top. There aren't any left in Egypt, are there? Hippo. There are?
Think of the huge 3D puzzle putting these buildings back together.
Maybe in India or Asia. To get them It is a different smell. Is it? Cedar. Cedar. What hero is this again? It's like 4th, 5th, 6th idea. I just wanted a general idea. Well, yes, you wouldn't want to after you've been here, you want to live comfortably. If somebody comes here with the sketches that another person can put in mind. Oh, and that's the burial shot. That's the car comes and goes through there. Yes, that was going to be a question. They fill up the shafts. Didn't stop them getting great.
This is the intact statue of the owner, Mereruka. Actually, it'd be Mereruka. I'm dreadful with names.
Offering table area? All shrines were closed. These would be like storage areas. These would be like storage areas. For this way you used to peer in at a statue. This way you peer in at the statue, hiding in the. The very thin layer of plastic. So I'd say, when you just look at the plastic, it's quite thin. I say Egyptology is more art than science, and you need to have architects and geologists and engineers understand, because it's a good idea, it's great to theorize or understand why something happens, the how is a little more important than that. Oh yeah. I think that's one thing I think I've heard is called unfinished. Anything unfinished is a bigger find than something that's finished, because we did understand how it got to that point. What is this, what is this? Looks like an anchor. Looks like an anchor. I'm not going to walk. We're going to wander in here, but this is just another side story. Now, would this be like a mud brick core with the fine stone casing? Would this be a mud brick core, or is it all fine? All fine. So it's all fine. Another room with another little hole cut in it. He's got a lot of little places where he can get sustenance. Implant ahead. Unlike the implant. Now, what? A little boom here. There are stairs.
And now we sort of wander back towards the parking lot.
Do I have to wander down the 45 degree? Oh, I'm not sure about that. I think that may be pushing it down. I appreciate I think I needed 2 or 3 days before I needed it, just to get used to being here. What's these are all various trees. Also, it would be close to the
After this, we do the bent pyramid. I'm going to do that as a separate thing, and it'll be probably only about 5 minutes long. You'll be happy to hear.
Yes.
Inside. The outside is for the nobles.
Well, everybody wants to be next to the king.
Yeah.
Well,
That's why
it's a prestige thing.
when you build
It's a prestige thing.
to the complex inside. Complex inside. That's how the one
Square room with no entrance.
this is the room that has been
So I'm getting a little dizzy, so probably back to the car. Right.
you wanna go to the show?
I don't think the crowds were bad, generally speaking, until we got to Luxor. And then, well, you'll see. unbelievably crowded.